Do you believe the 2020 election was legitimate? And what role do you see the federal government having in providing election integrity? We'll start with Mr. Black.
Thanks, Mitch. First of all, one thing we must do is return Republican leadership to the United States Senate so we can ensure there will not be a federal takeover of elections. That's priority number one. The question gets asked, I've had it asked of me a number of times in this way: do you think the election was stolen? And I had Politico ask me that question. I just simply asked, I said, I don't know. Do you? He said, well, I don't know. I said, well, I know we had a mess here in Georgia. I know we had inconsistencies. I hope those inconsistencies can be proven, and if his laws were broken, people will go to jail. That needs to take place. But this is one thing, I don't know what happened in Michigan and Arizona, but this is one thing I know, Georgia Republicans in 9th District: the election that'll never be stolen is an election when we all show up. That's why I'm counting on you this time.
Mr. Clark.
I'm not going to give you a political answer. I'm going to answer that head on. Yes, we lost Georgia because Trump won, and we lost because of ballot harvesting. Okay, let me be very clear. I warned against this. I talked to anyone who would listen, but I left office 8 years ago, so I didn't have a position of authority from which to speak from, but I called everyone. I said, this is what will happen, because I know. I've been in the trenches. I've rolled up my sleeves. I've worked to help get constitutional conservatives elected, and I know what happens when you mail out millions of ballot applications. We will have ballot harvesting, and that's exactly what we had. And you'll notice you need to listen to the candidates in this race on that answer. That's a tough one to answer, but we have to be honest with the voters, or else we'll have more of the same. We'll lose their confidence. So I will absolutely fight for safe and secure elections, and that should happen at the state level. But we also need to pass an amendment that only allows citizens to vote, and I will do that.
Mr. King.
Yes, I have a unique perspective on this because my beautiful wife, Janelle, she's in media, Fox News, Fox 5 Atlanta's The Georgia Gang, and we had people coming to our home. Now, I don't know how they found our address, but we had people coming to our home with signed affidavits of what they saw, and that they were willing to stand up and sign their name on the improprieties that happened in our state elections. So I know for a fact there were problems with our elections. But I also am hopeful that SB 202, which was passed last spring, goes a long way to securing our election, because it does eliminate the crazy absentee ballot requests that were being allowed prior. Now that we can only request an absentee ballot from the Secretary of State's office with an ID, I'm hopeful that this is now a way to secure our elections. But we cannot not vote. That was a problem from our party. We got a little emotional. Most Republicans, we don't typically get emotional, but we got a little emotional conservatives, and we allowed January to not go in our favor. So we've got to make sure we show up.
General McCollum.
I believe that there is more than enough evidence that something took place that was ominous. There are the ominous signs that it's clear but however, we have not made actual factual determinations in the open. And that what I mean by that is that we haven't investigated it long enough to make the factual determinations. This is what I would say to the Republicans, to conservatives across the state. Be really careful not to lose the war. Lose the battle, but don't lose the war. And what I mean by that is that there are some people that are waiting to use this against us in the next election. Warnock is ready to use this, and they will use this, and will be a losing battle. That what took place a year ago, unfortunately, it is bad, but there is no investigation. Let's look forward to the brightness of what God has to offer the United States of America and move forward and win the election. Let's not be deterred by a skirmish that we lost, but move forward, win the election, and take back and ensure that H.R. 1 and Bill H.R. 4 is not passed or executed.
Thank you. Mr. Sadler.
Yeah, I mean, look, I stayed up probably like everybody in this room till 1 o'clock in the morning watching the election results, and it's the same two counties every single cycle, Fulton and DeKalb, who stop counting, and then you get a different result the next day. That doesn't inspire confidence in our election process in anybody. So I tell folks all the time that we as Republicans, we got to do two things. We obviously have to make sure the rules of the game are right and just, but we also have, and SB 202, to Kelvin's point, it cleans up a lot of that and gets that transparency in our elections. However, we've also got to have a strategy to win. I mean, because they get their folks out to vote. Every single Republican has got to get out there to vote. If I had it my way, look, I'm the young guy in this race, but I'm old school. I wish that we did it paper ballot, the old school way. It used to be a civic community event, voting day. But this election cycle, we've got to earn it, and we've got to get everybody out to vote. So please do it.